On the 8th day, God created Manchester.
Oh, Manchester, so much to answer for.
Oh, Manchester, so much to answer for. Thus spake the blessed lizard king sex god Morrissey in a song by that group he was in. But move over, Mozza, 'cause there's new kids on the estate. For it was exactly 12 months ago, in this precise city of Manchester, approximately just off the M6, specifically, crucially, exactly 12 months ago, that 1990 started. In December 89, NME ran an article stating, Vera Duckworth for Prime Minister, Bez to be made Home Secretary. It can surely be only a matter of time before Manchester is made the nation's capital. And lo, the floodgates hath opened. It was to be the biggest and most successful explosion of talent from one city since the heady days of Merseybeat, when the swinging blue jeans, Bill Haley and the Comets, and Pinkerton's assorted colours left the cavern to conquer the world. Hi, I'm the Lizard King sex god Mark Radcliffe, and in the next hour we'll be looking back month by month at them their fantastic bands that made Manchester the centre of the universe in 1990. But hey, enough of my yakking. Phew, rock and roll, January. Indian Rope, Charlatans' debut single on Dead Dead Good, released in January. Undoubtedly some psychedelic 60s reverberations, mainly thanks to the Hammond organ, but Martin and Tim refute the revivalist tag.
I listen to a bit of that sort of stuff, yeah. I don't mind admitting that, but just when we first started and Rob brought in his Hammond, I'd never really heard the instrument that much. I really sort of feel now that there's never been a great organ, Hammond organ, bass.
It just suits the band, doesn't it?
Ever. Like with the first,
the band.
You know what I mean? It's never been a great organ, bass, group.
Booker T and the MGs?
They weren't great.
I don't know, the first band I ever saw with an Hammond, if you want to go, it was the Stranglers, you know.
Yeah.
It was pretty
They were
good.
crap, weren't they?
I really liked them.
Yeah.
Harmony in the Charlatans ranks then. In January, Melody Maker ran an article featuring the Charlatans, Northside and the Paris Angels, the bands they saw as a new generation intent on making Manchester the main focus for manic pop in the foreseeable future. The Stone Roses paid a Happy New Year visit to their old record label Revolver in Wolverhampton and did a spot of interior decorating. They poured paint over managing director Paul Birch and his great big swanky throbbing car, also his great big swanky throbbing girlfriend, I think. They were later arrested in South Wales. Inspiral Carpets signed to Mute, and in February released this.
Husband don't know what he's done.
Top Mop Top Popsters Inspiral Carpets with This Is How It Feels, which reached number 14 in that their fantastic Fun 30 pop pickers. It was a good year for the Carpets, so the burning question is, did they make stacks and stacks of cash?
In some ways, yeah. In terms of a year's income, yeah. But in terms of 5 or 6, 7 years of hard work getting to this stage, we've lost a lot of money over those years, you know, in careers that we've blown between us. So it's like we have made a lot of money, but it hasn't made up for the time we've invested yet.
I mean, the money, we've turned over a lot of money, but we personally haven't received a lot of money. And really, that isn't what we're in it for. We're in it to put out, like, innovative records and like throw them out there where people can react to them. If we were in it for the money, there are things we could have done that would have made us a lot bigger if we'd done like songs and had made them a lot more dancey, or if we'd done songs and put various kind of drum riffs in, we could have got a lot higher in the charts. We're not interested in that. We want to make our music, not something else, not some other kind of music that isn't anything to do with us.
Didn't you all get new Fiat Tipos or something?
Not me, mate. I don't like them kind of cars.
Listen, I'm not accusing you. I'm interested as to see what you spent the money that you have got on.
Some bought
7 years
cars,
since you've had
some bought houses. We must be like one of the only bands one of the only indie bands in the country who've got an 18-year-old drummer who owns his own detached house, you know, which is nice.
The thing about bands is that all bands are the same. It's just the degree to which they're honest about it. Most bands they'll buy cars and they'll buy a house, but they'll make out that they're rock and roll rebels. Irrespective of what kind of music, we're not talking about heavy metal, any kind of music, they'll just try and make out they're kind of like Mick Jaggers, but we're not like that. We just come out and say, yeah, we bought a car, Because what's the point? You know, everyone else is doing it. I'm not interested in it. Everyone's like that, really. It is a business, and irrespective of whether people admit it or not, people are in it as a business.
It's like people see me in my car now and they say, bloody hell, you must be doing all right buying that. And I said, well, I've had it 5 years, you know, I've always had a nice car. You know, it's not the music industry that's bought it, it's my previous existence. It's a leftover from a previous lifestyle. But yeah, we get slagged off for being materialistic. A lot of people think we're like materialistic or capitalistic. We get called that one quite a lot. But we're just very honest about, you know, we one of the reasons we're in this business is to make money and then spend it accordingly on things that we like.
Tom and Clint of Inspiral Carpets. What else happened in February? Well, it was my sister's birthday, and she used to know Sean Ryder when he was a postman before he went for handsome lessons. But sex object status aside, the Mondays campaign for world domination got underway in March. 2 nights at Manchester's G-Mex, and the release of Step On, which would rocket up the hot hit parade to number 5. So did Sean bargain for being great, big, huge, massive?
I don't ever think we're going to be like the Beatles or the Stones that people keep saying, you know what I mean? Are you going to be massive in America, or is it going to be like this? I mean, I can't really see it. I can see us selling like a few records and things.
It's almost stadium rock now, the size of places you played, isn't it?
Where? Here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It is in England, yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah. I don't mind.
What was it like when you played G-Mex? There was those 2 nights at G-Mex. Was that the first time you played somewhere that sort of size?
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like doing that in the whole?
Well, it was the first time we played that sort of size on our own back, you know what I mean? I mean, we was pretty lucky when we first started off anyway, because the first sort of gigs we did was with, like, New Order, you know what I mean? So we was bang right into big gigs.
What was it like to do those 2 nights on your own, though?
It was good. It was good.
Do you feel any different playing a massive place than playing somewhere like Corbière's Wine Bar?
No, to me, just playing at big places like that is a lot easier, isn't it? It's not as, like, personal. You know what I mean? We played venues the size of living rooms where you're just there and all the audience are on the same level and everything, and you know what I mean, in dead little rooms. That's miles more of an experience than playing with a big thing, you know what I mean, because it's dead personal.
Happy Mondays and Step On. In April, God's cop himself, James Aaron Anderton, announced Greater Manchester Police's intention to revoke the Hacienda drinks licence. The previous summer, 16-year-old Claire Leighton collapsed and died outside the club after taking ecstasy. It was unthinkable, closing down the most important music club since the Cavern, apart from the Kelty and Blair Adam Miners Social Welfare Club, that is. Who can forget Andy Cameron's wild acid all-night rave warehouse sword dance Cayley and hot pot supper? The Inspirals released their debut album Life, and oops a lordy, guys and gals, it went in at big number 2, only held off the tip-top top pop slot by the fabulous Carpenters. Who better? Another Manchester band released one of the hits that got away. It made the playlist of your favourite radio station, but missed the charts by a whisker. Well, several whiskers. Well, probably by a full cat, actually. Well, by several cats, but you get the idea. But it was a belter. Lay Me Down, a minor classic from the Mock Turtles. In May, the Stone Roses played Spike Island, a godforsaken blob of wasteland silt in the shadow of oil storage tanks on a stagnant bend in the Mersey. 30,000 people went, and according to The Independent, they were dazed, they wore tie-dye shirts, and they were under 25. That ruled me out. I haven't got a tie-dye shirt, so I gave my tickets to Ruth because I had to go to the Radio 1 Teddy Bears picnic at Bewley. Much the same thing, a load of people in a field, whichever way you look at it. The Hacienda, living on borrowed time, celebrated its 8th birthday, and new factory signings Northside debuted with Shall We Take a Trip. Fun-loving vegans James got to number 32 with How Was It For You, and MC Tunes had us all singing along to this one.
The ones who brought you. Bring you.
The only rhyme that bites.
Just play the music and the walls will tumble down.
The only rhyme that bites. Into June and the third summer of love was well underway. Not in my trousers, it wasn't. The Charlatans got to number 9 with The Only One I Know. And lovable top, mop top, mad monk meet his murder mothers James released their album Gold Mother, which coincidentally has just gone silver. The Paris Angels doused us liberally with Perfume, another tip-top chart tip that got away. And New Order spent 2 weeks at number 1, capturing the mood of the events of the summer. And I don't mean the Radio 1 Roadshow. How many miles from Denbydale to Clacton? Who cares?
Well, some of the crowd are on the pitch.
New Order, Great Memories, Gaza Crying, Cameroon and the King of the Road himself, Roger Mila, and the Marty Feldman of footy, Salvatore Scalacci. In July, the Hacienda court case judge adjourned proceedings until January of 91. The Sun called the Haas the most important northern venue since the Cavern. Well spotted, full marks. Inspiral Carpets followed in the Monday's stumbling steps and played the 9,000 capacity GMEX Centre. Was that a big day for the band? Tom and Clint again.
You just look at it in stages, you know. With us, we've always, like particularly with live gigs, we've always undersold things. We've always played somewhere smaller than the demand. So when we walked out on GMEX, we could have walked out on GMEX 2 nights. We could have done 2 nights, but we didn't want to do 2 nights. So we've always we've never got seduced by the success and gone over the top and overplayed things. We've always, thought, well, we could do 2 nights at GMEX, so let's just do 1, and that's been very much our philosophy this year. Is not to get carried away and keep our feet on the ground.
Did it not feel strange though, in your hometown? Because all your families were there and that. And you put what was it like in the build-up to GMEX? Was that an exciting time?
Not really, because it was just like chock-a-block with work. Before that, we just finished working on the Island Ed EP, and I was still doing backing vocals on it at 4 o'clock in the morning of the gig. And then I had to drive up to Manchester to do the gig. So it's like there's really no time. The way we work, there's no time to sit back and count your laurels, because I think if we ever started doing that, we could find it just finishes, because, you start getting smug or self-satisfied. We're always pushing for other things. I mean, like after GMEX, we had a 2-week holiday, and then we came back and did Reading or something, the Reading Festival, and that was 50,000 people. And that wasn't, we didn't even sit back after that and start thinking, yes, what a good gig, because there was something else to do the day after and the day after and the day after.
July also saw the Roses back in action. Their eponymous debut album, which was called The Stone Roses, and was their first LP actually, celebrated a great big long throbbing year in the album chart. And they released their only single of 1990, One Love. They were invited to play it on telly, on a top chat show called The Terry Wogan Show with Terry Wogan, but pulled out because Big Tezza wouldn't interview them. And who can blame him? Nice one, Tell. Jimi Hendrix, The Stone Roses with One Love. August saw the Inspirals headline at Reading, and also get into a row with hugely popular Philadelphia group, the Dead Milkmen, great name chaps, who say they thought of the famous Moo Cow logo first, so and hand over a big wad of cash Clint. Clint quite rightly dumped them in the nearest cow park. Barney of New Order and Johnny Marr played their first gigs as Electronics, supporting Depeche Mode at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The Fall covered the Big Bopper's White Lightning with great aplomb and a great big plum, and the blessed Anthony H. Wilson went to New York on his holidays, called in at the New Music Seminar and did his bit for Anglo-American relations with his not at all contentious Wake Up America, You're Dead address. Nice one, Tone. And yet another classic Mank Mop Top Hot Shot Pop Pick Flip Flopped, Up and Down. The High, who took part in the Nescafe Yamaha band explosion in September at a little-known club called the Marquee in a little-known place called London. The event became surrounded by controversy, though, when the trash can Sinatras pulled out in support of a boycott of Nestle, or should that be Nestlé products, including Nescafe. The Stone Roses had Fool's Gold re-released due to public demand and played more record company games by deciding to announce their intention to leave Silvertone mid-contract. The Roses were quoted as saying the deal was for 35 years, would only have got 10 years for armed robbery. Some say they should have got that anyway. Morrissey releases Piccadilly Polare about male prostitution in Piccadilly, and MC Tunes unleashes his modestly monikered The North at its Heights album, which coincidentally boasts a picture of Piccadilly on the front. Well, knock me down with a great big long heavy stiff thing. Also, it was announced that Manchester had lost out on its bid to host the 1996 Olympics to some place or other with lots of glass towers in America. Poor old 808 State, they'd already done the Olympic theme. 808 State, Olympic State. In October, a #1 album, Some Friendly. Wild celebrations in the Charlatans camp.
It was alright, wasn't it? Yeah, it was alright. I wasn't surprised, because, Rob, the keyboard player, sort of, said in May that when we released our LP, that'll go straight in at #1.
We were just happy that we'd had a chance to record it our way, we wanted to record it, so anything else was a bonus,
Did he take any gratification that you kept status quo and kept them in number 2?
I think that was like the most important thing. While we were number 1, because like status quo were number 2, and that was like the best thing about it being number 1.
Why?
Keeping them away.
Did you go out and celebrate? You must have done something when the album went number 1. You must have done something.
We rehearsed.
Someone brought us a few bottles of beers. When we were...
A couple of bottles of Nuki.
and then we just carried on, didn't we? Yeah, everyone else was celebrating around us. There was like a little group over there, celebrating. And I thought it was really good. So I think the whole of the record probably went at the day off on Monday. Like we were writing a new song, weren't we? Bloody Cartos, Martin.
But we'd done some... we just had a couple of rehearsals in Warrington. That was enough for us.
Phew, rock and roll. Fun all the way for Tim Martin and the other Charlies. Veteran punk sex god Lizard Kings the Buzzcocks take to the road again, and the Mondays release Kinky Afro. It gets to number 5 in the chart that leads the nation. Seminal acid rocker John Denver sues New Order, saying that their tune Run from the Technique album was nicked from his dance floor favourite, Leaving on a Jet Plane, and Inspiral Carpets left on a jet plane for Japan. Oops, hackneyed showbiz link there, guys and gals. Northside also went on tour, and the second single, My Rising Star, hit number 32 in the chart that leaves the station. My Rising Star, Northside's second single. November, Peter Hook's Haircut, Ashley and Jackson, Solid Gold, new fast automatic Daffodils Pigeonhole, Bonfire at Our House. Howard Kendall leaves the great Manchester City for struggling Everton, his contract obviously having been drawn up by the same person who signed the Stone Roses to Silvertone, who in turn speculate on a £2 million price tag for their services. CBS and WEA allegedly consider a little early Christmas shopping. The High cause a riot at Newcastle University when singer John Matthews loses his voice and heads for the early bath. Northside say Morrissey faxes, asking for a return fax saying why they should support him. Mozza says he didn't, and he'll give them £100,000 if they can produce the original fax. They don't, and he doesn't. New Order's Blue Monday drum machine is auctioned for children in need, and Inspiral Carpets release an EP called Island Head. An LP of Manchester Peel session tracks comes out under the name Manchester, So Much to Answer For. Great title, that's why we nicked it, missus. And what a big banging bumper bombing night bash we all had when Pills and Thrills and Bellyaches, Happy Monday's third album, hit the shops. It hit the charts too, but it was kept in 4th place by a triumvirate of panto dwarves, Paul Simon, Phil Collins and Elton John. The Mondays also go back into action live, playing G-Mex again amongst other stadiums, with none other than Plant Pot Fairy Dust Moonchild Mop Top Flower Person Donovan in tow. Why, Sean?
We've got him supporting for us. I mean, I can't see many like 13-year-olds and all that lot getting into Donovan, so, I mean, he's just there for us. I mean, we've said to him anyway, if there's people out there in the audience aren't really into him, then there's still going to be a couple of hundred people on the side of the stage that are going to be well into it. It's just there for us. He's good to listen to, you know what I mean, about 7 in the morning when you've come in from all the parties after all that all night and put a bit of Donovan on.
I was listening to something you were saying. You said this album that you've just done is the only one of yours that you like.
Yeah. I mean, there's bits on it. I mean, it's like there's bits on all the albums. I mean, I love the bass lines on the first album and things like that. I mean, I can't listen to songs on the first album because, I mean, that was when we were still learning and we're still learning now, but I mean, that was like, it's a bit too much for me. And then there's some tracks on Bum that have been out, you know, and I've walked into a club somewhere and I've heard the music playing and I thought, oh, this is alright, and then it's us, you know what I mean, it's one of, but I never really listened to him. I mean, this is the first album that I can listen to.
Was it fun recording it in America?
Yeah.
Had a good time?
I mean, it was fun, not just being there, you know what I mean, I've never really... See, our buzz was always going out and playing live, you know what I mean? Because we never really thought we'd cut it in the studio anyway. So our buzz was always like going around and doing gigs, like being on a fair, you know what I mean? And I never really enjoyed doing tracks or anything like that, but I mean, this one, like each track on the album, I really got into doing. It was good fun.
And from Stockport, a first glimpse into the wild and wacky, twisted world of Twist.
I'm stoned, baby. I'm stoned. I'm like the cake out in the storm.
World of Twist, The Storm, and core blimey showbiz chums, have them storms booted us up the underpants in December? I think they probably have. MC Tunes spreads a bit of goodwill to all men by attacking two geezers with a baseball bat outside his house. Committal proceedings are set for January and a 10 o'clock curfew is imposed on the self-styled Manic Mank rap machine. A quiet Christmas in store in the Tunes household then. The coveted Brit Award nominations are announced. Stone Roses are in with a shout for Best British Group despite only releasing one single and playing one gig all year. Happy Mondays are up for Best Newcomer. They've only been around 8 years after all. And the Charlatans also get a newcomer's nod. Probably worth an even bet, that one. And lordy, lordy, who'd have thought it? Little old James, 2 nights at GMEX. And brilliant they are too. Well, second night, anyway.
Where is the love? Where is
James with their third top 40 single of the year, Lose Control. Manchester, So Much to Answer For. The cult went worldwide, but unfortunately I didn't. Will it last another year? No chance. Why did it happen? I haven't got a clue, mate. Never mind, we all made stacks of cash. Whose turn next then? Whoever it is, you've got some act to follow. Happy New Year, right?